What's up, everybody? It's your man here, just call me Eddie, and we are back on YouTube. And we are back here with a new segment called Paperweight Projects. I've done these videos before on another YouTube channel. Basically, what happens is these cars get brought in for repairs. For whatever reason, the customer decides not to do the repairs, and they either opt to sell the vehicle or they just flat out leave it. And when they leave it, they end up sitting on our lot for a while. And usually these things don't move because they have transmission problems or major engine problems. So I call them paperweights because that's essentially what they are, is one big giant paperweight. Not to mention all the paperwork I have to go through to get a title sometimes for these things. All right. Now, oh, whoa, listen to that. Okay, radio works. All right. This time we got a 2006 Hyundai Sonata. Exciting, right? I mean, just the thoroughbred of economical sedans with a little V6 in there. 3.2 liter, I think. I'm not even sure. Who cares? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another segment of our paperweight projects. Today we are starting a project on this 2006 Hyundai Sonata. So here's the backstory. It actually came from another shop. The guy brought it into the other shop. They diagnosed it as a bad transmission, and the guy just left it sitting there because he didn't think the vehicle was worth pitting another transmission, which costs about $3,000 to $4,000 just for a good used one. So I could see his point. But I stopped by my friend's shop one day and I saw this sitting out there, and of course it intrigued my interest when he told me it was a bad transmission and now it was for sale. So of course I took a look at it. The car had good mileage, the body didn't look bad, and it seemed like the motor ran good, so I figured, why not? So once I got it towed over to the shop, I had to get a title for it. And then once we got the title for it was time to get working on it, right? Well, as it turns out, it takes me a little while to get to these projects that I buy because I have so much retail work coming in. And while I'm thankful for the retail work I have, these things end up sitting on our lot for a while, and you see plants and trees start growing in the tires. Needless to say, once we finally got to it, we had to go make sure that the transmission was in fact bad because we have not diagnosed it. So here we are. Okay, anyways, we're going to get back to what we were looking at. All right, we have power now. We have juice. We got 96,000 miles on it. Not too bad. All right. Now, oh, whoa, listen to that. Okay, radio works. All right. Fires up and runs. Oh, goes backwards. Now forward. All right, we know it runs. I probably should have done this before, but we're gonna go ahead and check the oil in it. Make sure it's got enough oil in it. And then if it does, and it looks like it does, get working on it. So, anyways, we're gonna let it run for a minute, top off that oil, let it run, and then we're gonna have to push it inside over there and get it inside. So, we've discovered that the vehicle does not move forward. Transmission will have to come out. And once we get it up in the air, we'll look up underneath of it and see what else she might need. So we pushed it inside and I started tearing it apart. Now, front wheel drives take a little more time to get out than a rear wheel drive transmission you would find in a truck. This is partly because they're in the front of the car and I have to take everything out on top of the transmission, battery box, air box, and such first before I can start working on the bottom side of the transmission. Okay, so we disassembled completely the top, everything we needed to get to. We got some bell housing bolts loose down in here. Two of them right there. We took all our connectors loose. Took our linkage loose. Got our speed sensor loose. Got our battery and stuff out of the way and got our transmission line. So once we start working on the bottom, the first thing we got to remove is the subframe. And that subframe can be very difficult to get out. It's actually the difference that makes these front wheel drives harder than rear wheel drives. But you just put a piece of wood under it and it comes right down. Now we get to remove the transmission, and we take the axles out first and disconnect all the starter and torque converter bolts, and we drop the transmission right out. We got some oil leaks. Looks like somebody's done this timing cover before. Look at that. New starter in there. With the transmission out, we could finally check all them oil leaks on the engine. Now, I'm not really concerned about these since the motor runs good and it was holding oil. And it really, I mean, it's not really worth taking that timing cover off just to fix some minor oil leaks that leak really slow. I mean, the motor holds oil and runs good. And come on, guys, it's a 2006 Hyundai. I'm not going to take this thing apart. Let's just take the transmission apart and figure out what's wrong with it. Alright, so we got the transmission completely disassembled. The case is in the wash. Now the problem with this transmission is this part right here. This is what we call the underdrive clutch drum. This is your underdrive clutch pack right here. This is what's left of our underdrive clutch snap ring. This snap ring holds these clutches and steels, these frictions and steels down in this drum. And what happened is I guess this transmission got a little hot and it broke the retaining piece out of that. You can see where that one's got a retaining piece and that's broken out of it, with nothing to hold that snap ring in, and we weren't getting any clutch pressure here. We were, it wasn't holding the clutch back in. So that's why I wouldn't move forward. That's basically all we got wrong with this transmission. So we just bought a seal kit, and we're gonna go ahead and just replace all these seals and O-rings, clean up all these clutches, and put it back in the car. So we searched around a couple different transmission part websites. I had no luck finding a brand new drum on any of these websites, not even a good used one. I even called my suppliers. So I got some part numbers, searched Google, and bam, we found one on eBay for 55 bucks. Good used one. Very used condition. Looks like they take it straight out of the transmission, put it on eBay. Regardless, it was 55 bucks compared to 163, so I thought it was a pretty good deal. They shipped that bad boy to me. I found a snap ring to use in it, and we're putting clutches in it and putting it back on the shaft. Looks like all good, air checks, so we're going to stick it back in the transmission. So after I installed my brand new, good used underdrive clutch drum, I went ahead and assembled the transmission back together, made sure these case halves didn't leak, and we stuck her back in the car. Wasn't too bad putting it back in, basically the same procedure as the removal. Just put your axles back in it, put the subframe back underneath of it, and cross your fingers that it works. Alright, so we got the transmission back installed in this vehicle. Filling it up with fluid, and we got the battery hooked up. I'm gonna put about another quart in it real quick. We're just gonna turn it on and see what happens. All right. We're gonna get in it.
Diagnosed with autism, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call 800
484 Alright, turn off the radio. And we're gonna put it in reverse. Alright, we got reverse. Alright. Okay, so we successfully have reverse and drive engagements. We're going to fill this thing up the rest of the way, make sure it's full on fluid, and we're going to give it a little test drive here in a minute. So, and check engine light. Alright, we're going to drive it anyway, see what that check engine light is, and see how it shifts. Let's see what happens. The vehicle ended up driving fine. We're able to go forward and it's no longer a paperweight. Now check back in the next video to see how I fix that check engine light. Stay tuned for part 2 of this paperweight project, and we will be getting to turn these paperweights into reliable transportation for people. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more.